Our guest today is State Senator Sandra O'Brien, and she represents the 32nd District, and that includes Ashtabula and Trumbull County and part of Geauga County. And you just mentioned a second ago off air that you're unbelievably busy. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Certainly, and good morning to all of your listeners, and I want to thank them for giving me the opportunity to represent our Senate district. I'm extremely busy, but in a good way. I get the award for living the farthest out of 33 senators from the Capitol.
I hear that's a great joke from other people that were in Columbus.
Yes, and even, I go down Monday. Usually I leave Monday afternoon, and it takes me 3.5 hours to get there from where I am, and that's not even eating. That's just, a rest stop or getting gas, and that is fine. I knew that to drive 7 hours in one day and work is a little much. So I basically go down Monday, and then I work all day Tuesday and all day Wednesday. But now that we're into budget cycles, I have to work Thursday as well. So, and that's fine. And usually I'm coming home late in the afternoon and get home in the evening. But with the time change, it's really, how nice it is to not drive in the dark.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's like everybody's happier driving. So, yeah.
I used to drive to Warren, and that was an hour and 5-10 minutes each way, and I thought that was plenty.
I know, but it kind of comes with the territory, and it's fine. It's fine. It's just been just a little bit of an adjustment for me.
Sure.
You figure you've never really had an apartment. I mean, I've been married a long time, and it's a little bit of an adjustment. The children are all grown, but it's not really your home, but it's working out fine. Right.
You're talking about the distance, and I can remember. Oh, well, you're a member of the Agriculture Committee, correct?
Yes, I am, and it's agriculture and natural resources.
You got a lot of good ones there, but I can remember covering the Agriculture Committee in the House was touring Ashtabula County, and John Patterson was the state rep at the time, was the tour guide, and they had always teased him about being so far from Columbus, but he took them. He loved taking them all around the county and explained to them that Ashtabula County is a microcosm of all of the agriculture that's available anywhere in the state, that you can find it all right here. You don't need to go all over Ohio.
And that's exactly right. And, I've even tried to tell people that, because they've already told me, they said, you're always talking about your district. I said, yes, because that's my job now. So if I can get you to come in here to see our covered bridges or to buy some maple syrup, you'll spend maybe a day or a night. And now I'm terribly supportive, of course, of Ashtabula County, but I talk about my district because, like you said, it includes all of Trumbull County, too, and then the northeast section of Geauga. I can tell you, Robert, that I am absolutely delighted with the committees that President Huffman put me on. It is great for this Senate district. Like you said, I'm on agriculture, and natural resources. I'm on transportation, which is huge for a district like ours. I'm on primary and secondary education, which I knew probably would happen because I'm the only past certified teacher among my Republican peers. And, local government and elections. What they do, Robert, I found, when they have a member from either house coming in who was an elected official at the county level, they almost always put them on local government because we get it. We understand most all the concerns of the county, no matter what position we had. So I'm really pleased with my committees.
Yeah, it's kind of surprised because I don't know, from my local government classes of 100 years ago, it was that when you're a freshman lawmaker, that they put you on all the junk committees, is what I always heard. And then I saw what you're on, and that just isn't the case.
It isn't the case, no. And I was grateful. I did talk to the president that what he gave me is just perfect for my district. And I did request a few of those. So I tell you what, both houses work pretty well together. However, I really enjoy being in the Senate. I mean, there's just less people. There's only 33 of us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very fortunate that I'm the 25th Republican member, and that is historic, but we can get an awful lot done. And look, I don't have to run for re-election for 4 years. And when you're in the House, just think of it.
You're always running.
You're always running.
Yeah.
You're always running. And when you get a 4-year term, I've learned from when I was county auditor, you can concentrate on the job for at least 2 years. You don't have to be always worrying about re-election. And then you slip into that mode, but you can concentrate on the job more, I believe.
So you mentioned you were a teacher in Ashtabula, and you taught at the Lakeland, was it?
Yes. I was a teacher at Ashtabula area city schools, enjoyed that very much. And then I taught at Lakeland Community College, and I taught in the communications field. I taught interpersonal communication and speech, and I enjoyed that an awful lot too. Had a lot of students from the district, from the county, going there. Then, after when I taught for Asheville Area City Schools, I was elected auditor and taught up to Friday, and the following Monday I was auditor. I remember that. I believe it's the second Monday in March. So, and again, I ran 3 times as Asheville County Auditor and was obviously elected. And I'll tell you, Robert, that gave me such a background.
Well, you're talking about local government. That's what I was thinking of.
Well, you think about it, when in government, our financing, we call it, the acronym is GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Principles. It is totally different than private accounting. And I have that background, which is wonderful for what I'm doing now. The only thing is, the budgets are so much larger. And they're biennial. That's different. And the process is different. But it's wonderful when you understand appropriations and millage. It's a wonderful background to have. And then I've had people there say, and then you live on a small farm. I said, I do. It's small enough that we lease it out. And what you started with, Robert, see, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I understand
a lot of background.
Farmers. Yeah, I have a really kind of a different, but a good background for this area. And so, I try very hard. I'm being heavily lobbied from the day I set foot there. And sometimes I'd say to people, they would explain to me about a program that they want kept in the budget. And I'd look at them and say, well, is it in the 32nd district? And sometimes you'd hear a pause. And then they'd say, well, it's in Ashtabula. I said, well, we have people in Trumbull County that would qualify. You know what? We're going to look into that. Next thing I know, they added the whole district. You think about it, Robert, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, that's right.
Really? So I'm enjoying it. When you look at the General Assembly, I tell people term limits really aren't working for us because they flip back and forth, a lot of elected officials. So when I came in as a senator, there were 5 new senators for this session. Only 2 didn't come from the House, and it's myself and Senator Serino from Mentor, Portage, Geauga area. Mm-hmm. And he tells everybody, I steal it from him. He tells everybody, Senator O'Brien and I are not House trained. And it's really kind of cute. And it's a good thing, Robert, because we don't have that background, so it's a little more of a learning curve. However, we're coming at it more from the local level, which I think is healthy for the General Assembly. I really do.
It's a good mix.
It's a good mix. That's a good line. It's a good mix.
So education, what are the big issues? When John Patterson was in state rep, he introduced legislation changing funding, and I know that a new term has taken place, and it has to kind of start somewhat over again. Do you know what the status of that is?
The way I understand it now, and I did talk to, I've known Bob Patterson, like most of us in Asheville County, for many years, and he's a fellow educator. Like
right, that's right.
Yeah, and plus he lives in Jefferson, and I'm just a few miles south. But with him no longer there, don't forget, the Speaker of the House is Speaker Cupp, and that was his joint sponsor.
Right, I knew there were still people that were sponsors.
Right. So the way it's looking now, it's going to start in the House, but we're being inundated with budgets now. So we've got the House just worked on the transportation budget because that has to be done by the end of March. So we've got it now, and I'm on that committee. And I mean, it's terribly busy, but we're working on that. And then after that, they have to go right into the general revenue budget. I mean, we're talking push like $80 billion for 2 years. It's huge. And so what I'm saying is, because of the time, there's a ticking clock on budgets. It's got to be back to the governor, and we have to know how he thinks about the changes, and it should be implemented by the end of June. So other legislation sometimes, especially a school funding piece, where you have all kinds of testimony, sometimes it has to get backburnered because of the time frame for the budget. So I know it's going to be in the House, but that's about all I know about that for right now.
Well, we're going to get you back and talk more, hopefully, often. I've got two things I want to talk about. We got about 3 minutes to go. This goes super fast.
That's okay.
One of them is you introduced legislation providing $465 million in federal funds to pay rent and utilities during the pandemic. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. I was delighted. There were 6 senators chosen to introduce and sponsor those bills. There was a sponsor and a co-sponsor. So I had Senator Wilson, and we had the largest amount. I mean, you're talking almost $500 million here. What it is, Robert, it is federal money that is coming through, and we're getting 3 years of it. And this is money that really has to be spent in this fiscal year. Now, government has a different fiscal year. Our fiscal year ends June 30th. So when we got this, we knew we had to move because we have to get the legislation through, and we have to get it appropriated. Once it's appropriated, then it's out of our hands. They've got it, because we're getting more money from the federal government for fiscal year 21 and 22. So when Senator Wilson and I looked at this bill, it's really the simplest bill out of the 4. It is the one I actually contacted all of the community action agencies in the 32nd district to let them know I had the money broken down for our district. And I mean, really, Robert, the one fellow said to me, there was a big pause, and he said, are you Santa Claus? I just started laughing.
I got to get one more question in before we leave. And that is County Commissioner Casey Kozlowski and Auditor Dave Thomas recently testified in the General Assembly about the governor's powers with COVID, and what that maybe they need to be kind of reined in or have a committee looking at them. What do you think of that?
Basically, we did pass legislation in the House to, I don't know necessarily rein in. If you look at the Ohio Constitution, the governor has emergency powers. After that, it's to go to the legislature. And the bill actually allows for the governor to have emergency powers. But after that, we are the ones, there's a committee from the House and the Senate who will look at the orders from then on in. I cannot begin to tell you the testimony that I heard over this bill. It was gut-wrenching. 3-to-1 small business people. A gal came in and said, I couldn't see my mother on the last days of her life. And they said, just because the governor has emergency powers, it can't oversee our federal rights that we have.
We should be doing a whole show on that.
We we should, yeah. So,
But we got to go.
Okay.
Sandra O'Brien, State Senator, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed speaking with everyone. Have a good day.
Bye. I'm Bob Lebzelter on Perspectives.